Nothing changed there. That doesn't seem to have changed. That's the same carrot soup. Book does not. Ooh, green book. A most dangerous etymological etymological expedition by the illustrious and revered Professor Bonlin Amepongo. Greetings and salutations, dear reader. It is I, Professor Bonlin Amepongo. You've no doubt heard of me due to my legendary discoveries gathering data for the encyclopedia Palia, or what my well chronicled exploits in etymology monthly, when my friends at Bahari Institute asked me to come to the region and document some of the unique insects that call the area home. I was unable to resist. I've had my eye on a trip to this lovely region for years, and I simply cannot wait to catalog some of the marvelous specimens found here, including the Kilima night moth, a variant with beautiful silvery wings. After 4 days traveling by coach, I finally arrived in Kilima village, a cozy little hamlet near the coast where the inn, has good drinks and friendly company. Though the place is clearly a backwater, seeing as no seeing as no one here has ever heard of me. The locals, however, make an apple cobbler that is nothing like you've ever tasted. It is no doubt how the innkeeper became the stout man he is today. Before I head out for research, I've purchased every cobbler that I can find in the village, stuffed myself near to bursting with its sticky, syrupy deliciousness, and packed as many as I can fit into my travel pack. This caused a brief kerfuffle with the local mayor, who initially complained about my cobbler apocalypse, mumbling something about needing them for an upcoming festival. Clearly, the portly fellow wanted all the pies for himself. When I told him I was here on business from the Institute, however, his demeanor quickly changed, and he became my escort for the day. This was a treatment I should have received upon my arrival, but better late than never, I suppose. Though the place is quaint, my brief time here in Kilima village has been rather enjoyable overall. This morning I left the comfort of the village for the backcountry. Where better to find the most impressive specimens and expand my legacy further? After all, one does not get to be famous as I without going the extra distance to find the truly extraordinary. This particular area is known for its population of jewel-winged dragonflies, showing off their iridescent golden and green bodies. This is a majestic, beautiful, and quite elusive creature. It is unlikely that someone like you, dear reader, could ever hope to capture one alive. It requires the utmost coordination and skill. But I, Professor Bonlin Amepongo, am no amateur. I shall capture and catalog one and report here once I have a magnificent specimen in hand. Dirty, sneaky little trickster. After almost an hour pursuing it, I was about to capture my quarry when I was tripped down the hill, tumbling end over end. Someone as famous as I could never be clumsy, so obviously the notion proposed by some that the tree root had already been there is completely preposterous. Editor's note, this is a well-known area and the tree root in question has been there for decades. Clearly, the vile and devious jewel wing sprung a trap for me. I hurtled down the hill uncontrollably until the tree stopped my tumble, ending in all of my delicious apple cobbler being smashed all over myself and belongings. No doubt this was part of the little menace's plan. Now I am sore from the impact and tired from the exertion. I'll just lay here for a little while and rest, eat what cobbler hasn't been destroyed to get my energy back before I continue my research. Thieves, marauders! While resting at the base of the tree, eating what I could salvage of the apple cobbler, I dozed off for a bit. Yes, the sun had moved considerably through the sky, but that's just due to the region and time of year. It was only a few minutes, I'm certain. In that time, my entire travel pack and all of its contents have been carried off by Kilima's version of ants. Monstrous little bugs as big as your hand. More like, editor's note, the largest Kiliman ant ever recorded was the size of a fingernail. When I awoke, they had already made off with my pack and were happily sinking their mandible knives into my flesh, looking for more cobbler. Clearly this had been the grand design of the nefarious jewel wing all along. It also occurs to me that those wicked village folk may have also been in on it, forcing all of that delicious pie upon me, knowing I would be irresistible to the insect horrors that call this region home. Now I'm sticky, covered in painful bites. The sun is setting, and my supplies are gone. However, I remain undiscouraged, undeterred, for I am Professor Bonlin Amepongo, the premier entomologist in Palia, and right now is the perfect time to seek out the Kilima night moth. Cataloging this creature in detail will further cement my name as one of the greatest bug brains of all time. Um, I can't read the rest of this one. You should have seen them, dear reader, as I trudged along the path, weakened from my valiant wounds and on the verge of dying of starvation from not having eaten all evening. I was considering returning to the village to rest and recuperate when I saw them. Great horrible winged beasts, beating the air into submission with their silvery blades as they cruised the sky. There must have been 4, no, 8, no, 20 of the monsters flying right toward me, no doubted, excited by the scent of my blood. And it is known fact that Kilima night moths do not drink blood, but are attracted to fruit, like apples. Even the name Kilima night moth speaks to murderous intents, if I've ever heard of it. I ran screaming into the woods as far as I could. Fortunately, I ran into the local hunter, who was able to point me back in the direction of the village. I forget the lad's name now. Started with an H, I think. Pasian. I tried to warn him of the horrible moth bats and the danger ahead, but he looked at me and slowly shook his head. The poor boy probably couldn't even comprehend the danger I was frantically trying to communicate to him. It's also possible that these ignorant folk are used to such sights. But let me tell you, dear reader, civilized Marjorie have no business out in the muck with these monstrosities. I barely made it back to the village. I can't read this. It is reported that Mr. Amepongo was found disheveled with minor bruising and a few ant bites and slightly sticky to the touch, I guess. In conclusion, dear reader, you can see just how dangerous the art of entomology is and why every bit of my fame is earned through blood, sweat, and tears. Though I did not catalog any of the fiends that I encountered, only a seasoned explorer such as I, Professor Bonlin Amepongo, could have survived what was clearly an impossible mission from the outset. The region of Kilma is a terrible place, hostile, unforgiving, and brutal, inhabited by unnatural beasts and savage barbarians who look to turn you into bait for the region's monsters with their pies. My advice to you is to stay out of the woods, leave the hard work up to us professionals, and continue buying my books until the next adventure. That was just purely marketing. Hi, Kovu.
I was also reading. Yes, I didn't record your reading session, so I didn't have to read it myself. That's not what happened.
That's definitely what happened. I don't see anything here so far. Plain old inn. The outside. Gonna check the door
Very
behind
tempted.
to restart.
Yeah,
Hi.
to close and restart.
And there's a book here. Oh, there's a book here. I shall read. Ormuu's Horn Guest Book. Visitor sign here. Justin Chang, Jimmy Chang, Jasmine. This might be a list of the contributors.
Yeah, I'm thinking this might be like a developer list or something.
Yeah. Interesting. Not gonna read that.
Nice.
It's too many names. Too many confusing sequences of letters to read.
It's okay. We got the Changs out of the way. Those are the most important.
It
Yes.
started with the Changs.
Records room.
Hi, Kenley.
Is he sleeping again?
No, he's standing there. There's a
He usually
book
comes
to
in here and he
read.
sleeps standing.
There's a book to read. And Kenley has a journal. Entry 69,948. Eshe said that she thought my mustache was thinning today. The rest of this page is too smudged to read. Entry 70,000. When I went out to pot my puffer pods today, a choppa had dug up the entire herb garden and absconded with the lot. I was too distracted by how cute it was to stop it, and now we must eat dinner unseasoned tonight. Perhaps I'll go to the inn again instead. That adorable little rascal was back again this morning. I think it must have made a nest somewhere nearby. Perhaps I'll be able to befriend it. Ever since Wigglekins Rutherford II escaped, I've missed having their adorable little faces around the estate. Ever since dear Taw dug up the garden, I haven't seen my new chopper friend around. Oh, dearest diary, do you think Princess Clara is all right? And after I'd just gotten her to eat from my hand. Aw, poor Kenley.
Yes, yes. Poor Kenley. That's what I was thinking.
As many ways as can go. Choppa needs to die. Choppa did die. And now I wonder, should we have a look at the backyard?